Smash Ultimate is gearing up for a summer filled with majors, but that doesn't mean this past weekend wasn't a busy one. It was a weekend filled with big-time regional action, with a number of Smash's hottest players in action in brackets across the world. From Japan to Texas to Germany to France, strap in as we take you around the world to get you up to date on all the tournament winners, huge losers runs, and explosive pop-offs you missed from this past weekend. We start in Japan, where Yoshidora was looking to defend his Sumabato 26 SP title at Kamisuma 13, a 248 entrant bracket featuring many of Japan's top players like Coney, Ashimo, Jogibu, and of course, Akala, who would be looking for revenge after dropping his first open offline bracket ever last week at Sumabato. The tournament was characterized by upsets as Coney fell prior to top 8, double eliminated by Diddy Kong player Kojika, who made a run to 7th place after finishing 97th at Maisuma top 7. While the 69th seeded Kojika was the most shocking name in top 8 with a ridiculous +7 seed performance rating, 3 other top 8 finishers outplaced their seed by at least 3 rounds to get there. Rito, the biggest competition with tea, the letter, not the drink, for Japan's top link, took out Hayate and Kojika before falling to Akala and Rizeyasu to take 5th, with a +3 SPR. On the other side of bracket, Ridley player Momon, not to be confused with the French Fox player, started top 64 in loser's side. It took 7 straight set wins just to make it to top 8, with 4 of them going to a decisive game 3. Momon would win an 8th straight set to claim the other 5th place spot, knocking out Kojika in the process and finishing with a +4 SPR. But arguably the most impressive performance in bracket came from the 3rd place finish Rizeyasu, and not just for the result. According to the tournament's result graphic, Rizeyasu used 7 characters in the process: Byleth, Marth, Mii Brawler, Sephiroth, Cloud, Shulk, and Terry. And given that the results graphic was cut off, who knows if that was it? We only saw the first 3 on stream, and that's because Rizeyasu spent just about the entirety of his tournament run in losers after falling in his very first match to 11, a player whose only previous result was an 0-2 at Kagaribi 7. They would go on to win one more match after defeating Rizeyasu, finishing 49th. Rizeyasu, meanwhile, would rattle off 12 straight wins in losers bracket, and they were dominant wins, as he was taken to a final game just twice. That includes his first match in losers. What a different tournament this could have been. Only 2 of Rizeyasu's wins, and as a result not even half of his characters, were streamed. Against Link main Rito, Rizeyasu's Marth was on fire, with critical tipper kills on the 2nd and 3rd stocks of the first game setting the tone for a 3-0. Against Ashimo, the Marth had nothing going, and Ashimo's Ryu made him pay every time he got in. The answer? Trade some speed and maneuverability for range and power, as the Byleth came in for a clean sweep. Rizeyasu, like most of the bracket, had no answer for Yoshidora. While Yoshidora's presence atop a Japanese bracket is nothing new, his dominance over Rizeyasu represented a conquered demon for Japan's best Yoshi. Rizeyasu was 3-1 on Yoshidora prior to Kamisuma, including a double elimination at Chubu Smash Bros. Chronicle No. 1, a 96-player event won by Rizeyasu in March. After 2 games over the Byleth, Rizeyasu went to the menu to make a Mii Brawler, but Yoshidora's punish game was too strong. The Brawler was dunked twice in a minute, and Yoshidora was on to Grand Finals. Yoshidora was the only one to push Akala to an elimination game in winner's bracket, as Akala was able to squeak through a back-and-forth Game 5 set, all featuring Yoshi versus Steve. Akala jumped out to a 2-0 lead before losing the first game of Grand Finals, and remembering how close Yoshidora kept the first set, he made the switch. Kazuya Mishima. The Kazuya has made a couple of bracket appearances for Akala, including in a losing effort last time against Yoshidora at Sumabato 26. In Akala's Grand Finals loss, the Kazuya was able to win 1 out of 3 games before he went back to Steve for Game 4. This time it was in on cleanup duty, coming in up 2-1, but the fact that Akala was able to stop Yoshidora's momentum with Kazuya is a great sign that he'll have a functional secondary to rely on at future events. Yoshidora and Akala are starting to become regulars in Grand Finals, and in recent months, they're looking like Japan's best players. We'll get a chance to see how Akala and Ashimo do against international competitions soon, as they'll both be heading to the Gimvitational later this month. Be sure to subscribe to PGstats to keep up with their performances in the US, as well as all the rest of the news from the summer of Smash. The largest tournament in the world this week was the 321 entrant Dokumi 2022 in Germany, a tournament featuring top German players like Tarek, Quick, and Dark Thunder, as well as talent from surrounding countries like Switzerland's Yaka and the Netherlands' BJ. The German top players cruised through winners as expected, but a couple of surprise guests crashed the top 6. Dryby, a Pichu main attending just his 6th offline event of at least 100 players, has shown substantial growth in the post-lockdown period, going from 49th at Dokumi 2021 to 5th at this year's edition, including a win over Germany's top Crom and Roy player Reinor. Dryby would fall to Tarek and the other party crasher in top 6, the top non-German finisher in the bracket, the Dutch snake BJ, in one of the most tense sets of the tournament. BJ is another player whose progress can be tracked through the Dokumi series. After a 13th place finish at 2020's 150 player event, BJ placed 5th at the 2021 edition. His win over Dryby guaranteed 4th place and therefore improvement at the 2022 event. But next was the man who both stopped his 2021 Dokumi run and his 2022 Dokumi winners run, both in 3-0 sets. Dark Thunder, the Bowser main who had been arguably Germany's best player in 2022 to this point, with just 11 sets dropped, 6 tournament wins in 11 attempts, and no placings worse than 4th to his name. 3 games later, 2 of which came down to terrifying last-hit situations, and BJ had overcome his bracket demon. Think he was a little bit excited? Tarek, though, proved to be too much, taking out BJ 3-1 with the Kazuya to end his run at 3rd place and maintain an undefeated record over the Dutch snake. While Tarek mostly used Kazuya at Dokumi, the Greninja remains in the pocket for some matchups. The most relevant one this weekend was Steve, as the only time Tarek stuck with the frog for a full set was in his 3-1 win over eventual 5th place finisher Enta. His foe in grand finals would be Quick, the Samus who has been among Germany's upper echelon since the Melee days. Quick had already conquered one of his demons earlier in the bracket. His first meeting with Dark Thunder at the first entry in the new Datev tournament series was a 3-2 in his favor. Dark Thunder responded by winning 6 of the next 7 sets, with the only win for Quick coming in the first set of grands at Rise of PPT, where Dark Thunder would roar back with a 3-0 win in the reset. Despite a sequence in Game 3 where Dark Thunder survived for nearly a minute with over 150% on him with both players at last stock, Quick was able to hold on to take the set 3-1. In the pre-Kazuya days, Quick owned a 3-0 set count against Tarek with a 9-3 game advantage. But then, back in March at Glory 2.0, Tarek got his first crack at both of Europe's best Samus players, taking down both Siski and Quick in the same day. Demon solved? Not exactly. Tarek was able to fight back in grand finals, but Quick may have just needed to get warmed back up. It's not that either set was a demolition, as Tarek was able to find leads throughout both winners' finals and the Grands reset, but Quick was too good at exploiting the ledge, and Tarek couldn't squeeze enough of Kazuya's explosive KO power when he needed it. Tarek eventually felt compelled to try the Greninja before falling 3-0. For Quick, Dokumi 2022 marks his first offline tournament win of at least 100 players in nearly 3 years, dating back to November 2019's Coca-Cola Breakpoint number 6. After coming agonizingly close so many times with 4 second places in that span, including 2 since his return from lockdown, Quick is finally back on top in Germany. Prior to MomoCon, you had to go all the way back to Low Tide City to find the last time Mudace even finished outside the top 2. And even at those 2 majors, Mudace brought home top 8 medals. Since Genesis, he's been one of the hottest players in the world, and that continued this week at DreamHack Dallas, where Mudace claimed the title and $2,000 grand prize over top Southwest talent like Shattuck, Burr, Lima, and Shu, and he looked like a frickin' samurai doing it. Mudace was nearly untouchable at DreamHack, taken to a decisive game just twice, by Lima in grand finals and by Snake Main Kronos, Colorado's top-ranked player and an eventual 5th place finisher in winners' quarters. For the most part, seeds held at DreamHack, with Lima taking 2nd and Shattuck taking 3rd, but there was plenty of drama. Lima and Shattuck traded Game 5 sets, with both going the way of the reverse 3-0. Shattuck took the winner's edition, and Lima rebounded to win the loser's run back, with both players showing off intense recovery mix-ups, including some sheer magic from Shattuck on the walls of Kalos. One player in top 8 tore through expectations, Bullhall, an Incineroar main, the number 2 player in the isolated Rio Grande Valley region behind only Shattuck. Bullhall was entering just his second offline tournament of at least 100 players. The first was Low Tide City 2022, where he proved his mettle with an upset over Lima en route to a 33rd place finish. He wouldn't repeat that upset, as Lima shut him down 3-0 to end his run at 4th, but by that point, Bullhall had already earned a +3 SPR, the best among DreamHack's top 24 finishers. He did so by taking down Johnny and Shu, two more huge wins over top Southwest players to add to his short but impressive resume. Texas's geography may make regular travel tough for Bullhall, but he's a name that can't be overlooked when he's in bracket. Our travels end in France, where Gluttony made his successful return to European Ultimate competition this weekend at KR Banger. The Wario Extraordinaire was able to take the 128 entrant bracket, defeating Mezcal, Mr. E, Modzai, OJ, and Raflo in the process. Now, normally this wouldn't be news, but despite Gluttony's intense success overseas this year, he's been vulnerable on European soil. Gluttony's KR Banger win was his first at a 100 entrant European event since a Wanted XZ event back in October. While much of that is due to his travel schedule, this included a 4-tournament stretch where Europe was able to keep him out of the winner's circle. Vienna Challengers Arena 2021, where Pelly finally dethroned him, a pair of Ultimate Wanted events, and Dos to Cell Revival of Lion in January 2022. OJ, France's top Captain Falcon, remains on fire, placing 3rd and making or beating his seed projection for the 8th consecutive tournament of at least 100 players. He split a pair of Game 5 sets with Raflo, Gluttony's top competition for France's #1 spot. Raflo took 2nd and has now placed top 3 at 4 of his 5 regional level events since coming back from Genesis. Gluttony's return to 1st place in France is a great sign that his well-earned break following Pound 2022 won't leave him scrambling to de-rust. Next week, he heads to Battle of BC4, where he'll look to show he's capable of adding another major trophy to his spoils from Pound. To keep up with Gluttony's performance at Battle of BC4 and the rest of the action coming this weekend, make sure to subscribe to PGstats and ring that bell. And we weren't even able to cover all of the big Smash Ultimate action from this past week. For more on InfinityCon, GeekFest Cancun, Warped, Dos to Cell, and more, follow at PGstats on Twitter and keep your eyes on PGstats.com for a weekly Ultimate Local Winners article going live on the site this evening. And thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, like I said, check out our website at PGstats.com and follow us for more information. I've been Kimona, and if you want to keep up with me, check me out on Twitter at ThatKimona. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.